So I just got to Slab City. I've driven around a little bit, and I don't really know what to think of it. It's just kind of really deserty. I had no idea what to expect when I got here. I just kind of drove in, which is half the fun, but it's definitely like it's an interesting place. Like, it's like really desert, and then there's kind of like broken down camper vans everywhere. And I feel like the sound carries really far, so I'm like trying to talk quiet because I don't want to be a disruption. People have just done all sorts of things to, like, whether they're here like permanent or they're just stopping through. There's like places you can tell people have just lived forever, and they've got like their like yards kind of scattered with like things they've made. And then I'm like parked in this like random patch of earth where I think near me there's like a couple different sites where like trailers have burnt down. So I've just been wandering around kind of looking at all the rubble. It's really interesting. I don't know what to think about it, but I'm basically just waiting for Mav right now before going and seeing any of the like art areas, just because I want to wait for him. I don't want to like have already gone by the time he gets here. He's just like an hour behind me, so I'm just hanging out right here. I was like cleaning off my car windows because I could barely see out of them because they were so dusty. But yeah, I'll give you a little walk around. Take you with me.
Hi. Sorry, this is me a few days after Slab City. I'm actually in New Mexico right now, and I'm editing the video, so I am jumping in because I need to explain a few things before we go forward from here. I am very much a kind of person who, when I'm traveling and visiting a place and experiencing where I am, I have a hard time pulling out my camera and remembering to film, and especially talking to the camera and explaining what's going on as it happens. So I'm going to be jumping in and out of this video, trying to provide a little bit of context and backstory. I'm a very open person, so I really just never feel like I have anything to hide, and I want to provide as much transparency into the reality of what's going on for you guys, because I don't really think it's fair to portray every trip as like this happy-go-lucky wonderland life. So what you just saw is Salvation Mountain, which is right at the beginning of Slab City. So I drove kind of out of Slab City and met Mav at Salvation Mountain. And what was actually going on behind the scenes here is him and I both knew that we were going to be separating ways for about 2 weeks in the next day or so. And so I think we were both in kind of an emotionally volatile state. I'm not gonna lie, this particular emotional state was brought on by me. I just got a little frustrated with him, and so while we were in Salvation Mountain, we actually sat in the structure for a long time, and we were going through ups and downs of like talking and then being happy and then you know, not being so happy. And so we were really kind of up and down. And by the end of leaving Salvation Mountain, Mav was still filming for his video, and we ended on a low note. So I actually ended up needing space, and so I walked out to my van, kind of got in, and just drove into Slab City without Mav. Obviously, always you should talk before just storming away, but I just needed that distance. So I drove into Slab City, and I actually ended up at the library. The library ended up being kind of a pivotal moment in this whole situation. So after I got to the library, I wandered into the library, kind of looked around, and ended up sitting in a corner kind of by myself, flipping through a book, and I just needed to get out of my head. So there was a person sitting in kind of the middle area of the library, and I ended up striking up conversation and kind of sitting at the table with them. And that person happened to be Cornelius Van Gogh, who, if you don't know, is actually the person whose home the library is. If it seems like I'm refraining from saying he or she, Cornelius identifies as they, so I am going to continue to refer to Cornelius either by Cornelius's name or as they, just so we're not confused. So Cornelius and I ended up kind of ending up in conversation. We were talking for about 10 minutes until Mav kind of wandered in, sat down at the table with us and joined the conversation, and somehow the conversation ended up turning to YouTube. I think Cornelius was in the process of editing a YouTube video at the moment. So it was pretty funny because all of us do YouTube, so we had something in common, and we started talking about that. And Cornelius and Mav really sparked interest because Mav does a lot of cooking videos on his channel, and Cornelius enjoys cooking. So that is how we ended up having an invite to dinner at the library. Dinner didn't end up being it was, I don't even know what time it was. I think it was like 3. So we had a couple hours until dinner. So Mav and I left together and drove over to East Jesus, which is on the other side of town. And in the parking lot, we actually ended up sitting in the van for about an hour, just kind of talking. We spent a lot of time talking that day, just getting our brains back in order. By the end of the conversation, we were in a lot better headspace, so we got out and ended up going and exploring East Jesus. I was still a little off, so if I seem weird in some of the clips, I was just trying to get over any remaining mood that I had. By the time we were on like bowling and on the seats, like the teeter-totter, seesaw, they're the same thing. By the time we were playing around, I was in a much better mood. Mav and I were both laughing and having a great time, so that felt really good. So we left East Jesus when it was closing, and then we ran into town really quick and picked up some whiskey to share for dinner, and then like a 20-pound bag of ice. And then we headed over to the library again around, I think it ended up being around like 6:30 or 7.
Hey guys, food!
Do you have a name for your masterpiece?
Fuck you, it's spaghetti.
Once dinner was over, we kind of ended up all sitting at one table. We sat with them for, I don't even know how long. It was like a couple hours. And we just talked for a long, long time. We started drinking. I'm not gonna sugarcoat this. There was a lot of drinking that night. And I only say that because it's relevant because we were super hungover in the morning. I get a lot of comments from people on my channel saying I drink a lot, which I just wanna point out. On YouTube, you're seeing a very condensed version of my life. And I don't personally believe drinking is bad, obviously in moderation. You're seeing pushed together clips of like nights where I'm hanging out having a bottle of wine at sunset, or you know, so you're seeing a very condensed version of my life versus like a spread out what my actual weeks are like. So no, I don't actually drink that much. This night definitely drank way more than I would normally ever drink. So drinking did bring up some bad stuff for Mav and I. By the time we were going to bed, we were once again in kind of a bad place, and we went to sleep, and then woke up and like I think we woke up at like 4 in the morning, and we were just it was a roller coaster, and we were hungover, so it was not great. But by the end of it, again, we were in a much better place. And we got up and we went into Cornelius's house again and had coffee and hung out. And actually, we did a live stream on Cornelius's channel. So if you do want to go look at Cornelius's channel, you can see Mav and I in the live stream, which is kind of fun. And then we kind of had to head out because we were really hungover, so we both needed to like go take showers and like be people. And I had to leave. I am on my way to Texas right now, so I have to meet my friend Jenna by the 9th, and so we were in kind of a rush, which was a bummer, but we headed out around like 9 that morning. And that is the tale of Slab City. It was quite an interesting experience. It was really awesome to be able to like be folded into the community and get to know people who actually live there. All right. Anyway, so yeah, now I'm on my way to Texas. I'm in New Mexico right now. I have a lot of driving to do, so I'm gonna finish this up. And thanks for tuning in. If you didn't get enough like footage, go check out Mav's video. I know I suck at filming. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. Anyway, that is the story of spending a night in Slab City. Getting to know some new friends and people. Yeah.